Hello everyone, welcome back to another Minecraft update video. This is Snapshot 25W06A for Minecraft 1.21.5. And look at this, my friends. Once again, Mojang listened. The leaf litter can now be placed on any block surface. This is just a fantastic way to multiply the possibilities with building. However, there are some block types this can be placed on that it doesn't entirely make sense. The glass is an interesting one because it's transparent, but I think, why not? The chains, however, and some of these other blocks I've shown you, yeah, this is probably going to get changed. Now, this was actually reported in the bug tracker as a bug. Leaf litter can only be placed on dirt-like blocks. And I'm not sure I'd classify it as a bug, but obviously it's a good place for reporting some suggested changes. My question is, should the same be done for the wildflower and pink petals? I have another question too. As we predicted this, we predicted that the chicken would be next. I am talking about their classification as a farm animal. And my question is, do you think any of these mobs, or possibly one or two of these, would also be classified as farm animals? I happen to think not, which is why I think the chicken is the last mob that's going to undergo these changes. At least for this Minecraft update. Whoops, I mean Minecraft drop, of course. But like the cow and the pig before them, these new chickens are defined as temperate, warm, and cold. We're currently looking at the cold variant, and where they spawn is now data-driven. This means we have a comprehensive list of the biomes they will generate in, and it applies to all of the cold variants. And so here's the list for all of the biomes that the warm variants will now spawn in. Oh, and we actually have cold and hot right next to each other right here. Let's not get distracted. We want to look at the models of these chickens with the no AI on, which seems to make their wings flap ridiculously fast. But in the middle, we have the temperate chicken, which remains unchanged, and the warm one next to it with this really lovely golden yellow color. On the other side, we have the cold variant, which has received not only this darkened texture, but it now has a tail at the back as part of its model, as well as a larger, slightly bushy head. And that, of course, fits the theme rather well for it being in a colder environment. I'm also quite curious. Let's summon some little babies in. Oh, the reason they were flapping their wings was because they were flying. And then when they're on the ground, they don't move as fast. And look at these guys. So very cute and adorable. Oh, and right on time, one of these just laid an egg. That's perfect. Yes, because the traditional eggs have remained the same, but for the new variants, that means we're going to get new eggs as well. So the brown egg, I believe, is for the warm chicken. There you go. And the other one is the blue egg, which is for the cold chicken. Oh, we just got 4 at once. That's quite a rare event. Now, this will affect crafting recipes too. So you can see the pumpkin pie here now works with any type of egg. And the same goes for making cake. The egg in the very middle can be any type. Now, let's see what's the case when it comes to breeding, because this wasn't dependent on the biome for the other mobs. And as you can see there, that one was born inside of a savanna. So it's simply just defined by one of the adults. It occurs to me now the easier way to demonstrate this is with 2 cold ones inside of a hot biome. All right, those were the new ridiculously cute chickens. Let me know what you thought of them with a comment down below. While you're down there, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. A lot of you watching aren't subscribed to the channel, and if you want to catch more Snapshot videos like this and stay informed, then it's a great idea to do so. Thank you for considering. Let us now return to where we started this video. And yes, we now have a cactus flower on top of the cactus. These can generate in both the desert and the Badlands. And when flying around, it feels a little bit 50-50 as to whether a cactus will generate with one of these on top or not. Now, I've frozen the game, but let's now set it to 2000, which is a factor of 100 above the game's normal random tick speed. And we can let all of these cactuses grow. As you can see here, along the way to fully growing, they have a chance to create one of these cactus flowers on top. And even at the first stage of growth, they can do this too. This is because they have a 10% chance to grow instead of letting the cactus grow higher. And if it is 3 blocks tall, then it has a 25% chance to grow on top. They do, however, need space to grow on all sides. So what does this mean for farming this stuff? I can place it there, but in theory, it shouldn't ever grow into this spot. So this is unbelievably crude, but you saw it right there. One of our first attempts and another one right there have successfully grown this, so it's possible to make a farm. I was a little worried that they would sort of land directly onto the cactus and destroy the item, which of course they can do, but it looks like we'll be able to farm this stuff automatically. And that's good, because not only can it be used decoratively, we can also compost it, and we can craft it into pink dye. As for what you can place this on, it's defined as any block which has a center support at the top of the block. Now you can't place this inside of a flower pot, but you can on top of a decorated pot, which looks cool. However, this is my favorite discovery so far. I should also say bone mealing them does nothing. And don't forget about the bees. Never forget about the bees. Look, we can use it to attract the bees and breed with them. And best of all, no tools are required. This is just instant break in survival. Now you've seen it in the background here in the desert and over in the Badlands. These are the two new places where this new type of grass can generate. It is short dry grass and tall dry grass. Now, despite the name, they are both actually taking up a single block. This one is closer to a half slab. The other one over here is closer to a full block. And just like the dead bushes that are in the same area, you can place these on the two types of sand, terracotta, as well as the different dirt blocks. But that, as you'll see, is their limitation. We can't put them on other types of block. Now, these can be bone milled, and the mechanics are kind of different here. You bone mill that to turn it into the larger one, and when you do this, it'll then grow a smaller one alongside it. This is kind of like the bush. And then when we click on this one, of course, we're going to grow it into a bigger one. And I've got a feeling that a farm is going to look something like this. We're going to have one of these at the back that's always out of reach. Then we'll need blocks around it to prevent it from spreading where we don't want. We'll have a very basic, obnoxious clock here. And then the player's going to stand down the front here and just click like this, I think. The problem with that is that it actually breaks these blocks. The tool that we need is shears. And look at that, I can just stand here holding down click. So those ones are probably unnecessary. Yeah, I think your contraption's probably just going to look like this. It should also be noted, this new way of farming grass isn't retroactive to the old type. But what about sheep? If you did not know it, sheep eat grass the block. They also eat this type of grass too. And the tall variant. Well, these have been put into a data-driven list, so sheep can now eat these new types as well. They can be used in a composter and as fuel inside of a furnace. I was going to say next, let's take a look at the firefly bush, but actually we need to listen to it. So I missed this last week, but it actually has its own ambient sound. This sound will now only be heard at night as long as there isn't a full block above the bush. However, leaf blocks are an exception to this. I can also confirm that its particle effects are not driven by the time of day, but the light level of the block. So when we cover this up and it's dark, that's when the particle effects get emitted. And related to the other bush that we saw in last week's snapshot, you could waste bone meal on this once it was surrounded on all sides. Now when I right click, the bone meal isn't wasted. Next up, we have a new game rule that's been added to the game, and this is for a change. So the default value of this game rule is false, and it's called allow fire ticks away from player. If you want to revert these changes to how it was in the previous snapshot and previous versions of Minecraft, you would set this game rule to true. So what exactly has changed? Fire will no longer burn or spread if no player is within 8 chunks. So let's say that there's some sort of fire going on in our jungle. We want to move away 8 chunks from this, and now that fire will no longer be spreading. You can see it's just staying exactly where it is. If we change the game rule, then it would start to spread, or if I move within 8 chunks of it, you can see that the fire spreading starts again. This is in line with some other changes here. It says any block in the simulation distance of a player or unloaded by any other source of chunk loading, such as ender pearls, may now receive random ticks instead of just 8 chunks around the player. For example, if a chunk is loaded by an ender pearl or is in the spawn chunks, crops are able to grow, ice can melt, snow can fall, and a cauldron can be filled by rain. Mob spawning, lava spreading fire, and lightning strikes still occur in the previous radius of 8 chunks around a player. And that is really good news for chunk loading with ender pearls. We've seen some tooltip changes recently, and now an optimization has been made to stack projectiles of the same type. So where we got 2 arrows, rather than listing it twice, it just says ×2. Okay, there was a bug fix from quite a few snapshots ago, and this is something I didn't think I would tell you about, but when you do this, you used to get the noise of getting the advancements and have them pop up in the top right-hand corner of your screen for ages, and it was like an absolute pain to wait for whenever I had to do this. But yeah, that got fixed, and that means that I can quickly open up the advancements and show you what's changed. One in the Nether category has been moved into Adventure, and there it is right there. Country load, take me home. When it comes to bugs this snapshot, there was just a slight tweak to the wildflower texture that was listed in there, and just about everything else here was barely worth mentioning. Alright, that's the end of this snapshot video. If you're looking for something else to watch, over on my second channel, I've been uploading some games of Tunnel Rats, so if you're interested in seeing it in action, head over there and check it out. Otherwise, that's it from me, this snapshot video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Thanks as always for your support, and I'll see you next week with another one. Bye-bye.